guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review the final episode and the last part of the reunion of season 2 of Real Housewives of Dubai. So let's get into it. Let's talk about it. So the episode opens up, and we're still having the continuation of Talene versus Brooks. And this is after Talene called Brooks a pathological liar, after Brooks called Talene a liar, and Talene's like, you and Rafi got into an argument after the See You Next Tuesday. And Brooks is like, no, I didn't get in an argument with Rafi. I got in an argument with you. So eventually Andy kind of like brushes it to the side. And then Brooks is just looking at Andy like, are you saying it's okay for that man to yell at me? And then Andy is like, well, y'all are friends. Honestly, Andy doesn't like Brooks. He also doesn't really enjoy this cast because throughout this whole entire reunion, you could tell that he was tired. Like, he wasn't really into it. He wasn't really impressed by the gags and stuff like that. The only time we got a really good giggle out of him was at the end when the ladies exchanged gifts. Other than that, he was not like, he wasn't into it. So, but I feel like if you're not going to be into it, or you can tell that this cast is not the type of cast you want to be with like that, then they need to start substituting people in. I think we have come to the point in Real Housewives where Andy doesn't need to host everything. And I feel like he should have started like ushering up somebody else who they could do it like off and on. Like, one year Andy does it, then the next, person that's behind him, male, female, whoever, does it. So he's not tired. Or it's easier for him to hide his tiredness or hide how much he's not into not into the cast, because you could tell he really was not into it. So they move on from that. Andy is just kind of like, well, you guys were able to bond in Bali over the dresses by Sikdik, the guy who made them. And, they roll back the clip of Brooks being like, you look like a curtain to Talene, and she laughing it off. And then Brooks being like, I hate mustard yellow. And then, what's her name? Lisa sitting beside Brooks was like, I wasn't offended, but I was more offended for the designer. And Lisa was like, mustard green looks great on brown skin and black skin. And Brooks was like, I don't like the color. It reminds me of like the last part of Vomit. And that's her right if she doesn't like the color. So Andy also asked Brooks, how did she feel when she realized everybody was concerned about her not showing up? He was like, specifically Talene. And we find out that Talene called the glass house. She called her house. Like, her and Rafi were still trying to check up on Brooks. And Brooks said, no, it meant a lot to me. And she said, I think the only person who made a joke about it was Stanberry, who was like, I know that bitch ain't dead. And everyone laughed about it. And Andy was like, well, you said on Watch What Happens Live, in order for you to move forward with Talene, she would have to apologize. And they pointed out all the times that Talene has apologized. And so Talene was waiting for Brooks to apologize. And I see where Talene, for me, kind of shoots herself in the foot is she's always asking people, because she did it to Lisa, well, are you going to apologize? When you do that, that makes people get very defensive and be like, well, no, I ain't trying to give you no apology. I don't want to. Now that you be like, no, you should have waited. And basically, that's kind of what happened with her and Brooks. But Brooks did end up like kind of apologizing because, Talene brings up like, girl, you be going off on Twitter and you go so low. And y'all know we talk about Brooks in the spicy corner. Brooks she be going in there. But then I actually kind of agree with Brooks's opinion where she was just kind of like, when I'm attacked, I go there. And we always hear that saying, like, you can't attack people or come at people and then judge how hard they go. And I'm like, I feel like y'all know Brooks goes that hard. So why even bother with her unless you are prepared to go to hell with her? And I'd be like, do what you got to do. If she want to go down there, then you go down there further. You know what I'm saying? And so Brooks ends up saying, like, I do need to work on my responses to things. They do shade Brooks about being on Twitter Spaces. And I seen Brooks on Twitter Spaces. And Talene is like with 10 people in there. I don't know how the girls gonna feel about that, because some of the people that do be in Twitter Spaces with Brooks, they be on the timeline and they got a lot of followers and they have fun conversations in there. I don't really think there's a big deal about her being in Twitter spaces. Y'all want these women to promote this show. You see that Bravo doesn't really promote the show. So if them talking to fans is their way of promoting, or them being on Twitter, then I think that's okay. I remember when, before they're even like where people were really even on Twitter like that, the girls used to have their blogs that they would release after every episode of Real Housewives, and it would be just as messy, just as catty, just as nasty, and we all would go up for it. You know, some people would legit like wake up in the morning just to like drink coffee, or eat breakfast while reading that stuff on Bravo's website. So I feel like it's the same thing, but maybe people feel like it's more personable because you know for a fact that person is typing it out. Whereas when it came to the blog, some people speculated that they felt like assistants would write them or the network would write them, and then they would read over and add things. But hey, so everyone kind of laughs it off. And then Andy is like, can you guys move forward, to Brooks and Talene? And Talene said, yeah. And Brooks says, yeah. So then they cut for 45 minutes so they can all eat lunch. So we end up seeing Sarah and Talene have a conversation. And Talene is like, I'm sick of always apologizing. I'm not going to keep falling on the sword and she's not going to apologize. And Sarah said, no, you always apologize. You apologize on the show, off the show, and you just did it then. So then we end up seeing Lisa and Brooks have a conversation where Brooks is like, Ayan is on one. Like, she's unraveling. Like, what's up with her? And Lisa's like, I don't know. Then we have a sit down with Ayan and Stanberry, finding out where they got roaches, because Stansberry's dress is like caught on one of them sticky traps. I said, ain't no way I fly from another country for you to have me in a building full of roaches. I'd have been pissed. I do not. Ugh. And they don't die. No. Okay. I don't want to be in no place with an insect that if a nuclear weapon is dropped on an area, it can survive. That ain't human. Well, I mean, we know it's not human, but that's of the devil right there. Okay, I don't want them around me. So while they're sitting there, Ayan is saying how she's upset with herself because she allowed Lisa to get to her, and she's just like, she's my best friend. She knows the victim work really gets to me, and I was supposed to go up there and not have these emotions. So then Stanberry is like, I can tell that it's getting to you. It's getting to me to see you unravel, while she's just sitting there like a wax figure, like very stoic, not having like no emotions. And Ayan and Stanberry laugh about it because Ayan ends up being like, I know it's bothering you. And so we move on. We then see this scene where Brooks actually goes to Talene's room, and Brooks is like, okay, so we're moving forward. And Talene is very much like, are you going to apologize? Are you going to take accountability for anything you say online? And Brooks is like, if you're going to go back and forth, then you need to take accountability for the stuff you said online. And so Talene is like, what I said on Watch What Happens Live. But I'm like, Talene, doing Spicy Corner Girl, you have said some things. They may not have been as bad as what Brooks has said, but you have said things too. And so Brooks is like, if we're going to go back and forth, I don't want to do this with you. And it's whatever. So then Talene gets mad because Brooks leaves the room, and she's like, you need to take back how you said I begged you to be on this show, how I did this, and this. And Brooks is like, you did. You did. And honestly, I think two things can be true. I think Brooks did want Talene to be on the show so she could have a buddy that she could, go at the girls with, that, she could kind of coach through it and they could be locked in like Lisa and Ayan before this season. But I also think Talene did beg to be on the show, girl. You were at every event group event that they had last season. Well, not every, but you were in the background. So it does feel like you wanted to be there, and there's nothing wrong with you wanting to be on the show. Like, it is what it is. And my thing is, I still believe that Talene switched up on Brooks, but I do feel like Brooks made it easy because Brooks does not know how to like take a moment, take a beat, evaluate a situation, and move forward. This with the natural lighting, but the sun is going down. So if it look weird, my bad. My ring light isn't doing it for me, and I need to buy another one. But they get back on stage. They start talking about Dubai's like athletic scene. Side note, what was the purpose of Sarah being here? When I tell you she added nothing to this show, honestly, the show could have just been Talene, Brooks, Stanberry, Ayan, and Lisa. Just those five women. Because after a while, I was like, why is Sarah talking? Why? So they talk about Dubai's sports scene or like health and fitness scene. They then talk about the Mina Row event where everyone was kind of irritated that Lisa has had her logos everywhere. They bring up her situation with Brooks where they got into it, and Brooks was like she wasn't that bothered by it, and she was trying to explain to them that like it was a conflict of interest. Like I have my own spa. Like she could have used my spa. Well, Lisa pointed out, well, you had your grand opening and neither Ayan or I was invited. And Brooks was like, yeah, you right. So then Andy was like, well, why were you so upset? And so then Brooks is like, well, Stanberry and Sergio were sending me text messages. And so you see Stanberry and you see Talene being like, girl, what? And this is why we do Spicy Corner, because when they sent out those screenshots, Stanberry was in them screenshots with the logos and everything, being like, look at this. Because remember when Talene and Brooks were going back and forth, they both released text messages and you see Stanberry in there. So I do feel like they was winding Brooks up. My thing about it is it's not that hard to wind her up, okay? So they're like, no, you came into the room where we were getting massages on 10. And I'm like, yeah, she had an attitude, but y'all also was telling her to talk to Lisa and tell Lisa how she felt. So you can't just put it all on her like y'all weren't adding fuel to the fire. Side note, when I tell you Brooks is beautiful, there's a pit like I got a steal of her where she was just annoyed and she was just like, and when I say face gorgeous, crazy as a Betsy bug. But when I tell you she is beautiful, that mug can't be clocked. The mug can't be clocked. So, um, I think Stanberry ends up being like, you know what, we all like there's this group has this problem where they try to, I guess, like steal each other's wins. And she was like, you tried to say that Talene didn't have a business, you know, Brooks' situation, me saying that I have a sugar daddy. And then Lisa was like, well, you started this because you talked about my business. And so they flash back to the reunion, the first reunion, where Lisa is like, you know, it's Brooks, not Brooks, it's Lisa and Stanberry going back and forth. And Stanberry being like, you still designs, you get all your stuff from Alibaba and all of this stuff. And them arguing back and forth. And Lisa was like, I don't steal designs. I don't do none of that. And so then, what's it called? So then Lisa was like, you keep saying I'm stealing things and I'm stealing designs, but I have something for you. So she reaches behind her back and she pulls out these two books. Andy was like, is this going to land? Basically saying, girl, I don't think what you got on her is going to eat. And he's not lying. The receipt flopped because Stanberry ends up being like, I never said I wrote those books. So it seems like it was like a journal of some sorts where like it's guided journaling, and I guess Caroline was using that, like maybe it's a template that everybody can use. And so Lisa was like, I bought 3 of your books and brung one of my book and a book that I had, and I said some of the stuff in there, she was like, it was similar, it's like damn near the same. And so when she looked at it, it was basically the same book, but like nobody was really impressed by it. I know Brooks was like, girl. So, but like Andy and nobody else on stage ate, like it didn't eat because Stanberry was just like, I never said I wrote those books. So I was like, yeah, Lisa. So then Lisa was like, y'all keep saying I steal designs and I don't steal designs. And then Stanberry was like, well, Ayan said you get your creams from Alibaba. That really set Lisa overboard because Lisa was like, no, I don't. I get my creams over in Europe. And so she pulls out her phone, and on the phone it said, like, I guess it was saying that she gets her creams from Bulgaria. She handed it to Andy, and Andy said it does say that. But I was just like, not Ayan, like basically saying that girl do get her stuff from Alibaba. And that's the kind of messed up thing about this whole breakdown in their relationship, is because they never really liked each other like that. Because for Ayan, even if she wanted to be friends with Stanberry, and even if she had issues with Lisa, for her to be saying that, like, yeah, girl, she really do be getting her stuff from Alibaba, knowing that your friend has been fighting since season 1 to prove that, like, all her designs and all her fashions are from her mind, from her, she tries her best to source the best material, is messed up. It is, you know? And also, the whole Rihanna thing is stupid if that is a catalyst as to why Lisa feels some type of way. It's just that y'all both y'all both really, your friendship was never as strong as y'all said it was, because the things that y'all are arguing about are very trivial, and it's like that one thing shouldn't be ripping y'all apart in this way. So then as Lisa is arguing back and forth, Brooks and Sarah are having a conversation, because Sarah don't like Lisa, because Sarah is like, why are you defending her? And Brooks was like, I'm speaking, like I'm speaking up for her. And then they end up saying that the reason that how they found out that Lisa got her stuff from Alibaba was from Brooks. And Brooks was like, no, no, no. No, no, no. Ayan told me that, and then I told y'all that. Don't say that I went looking for that information, because I did not. So, yeah, it was a mess. So then they move on over to Stanberry's package. It really wasn't much other than like, will they, won't they? Is she going to have a baby? Is she not? Let me turn this up. Is she going to have a baby? Is she not going to have a baby? And what we find out is surrogacy is now legal in Dubai. And she was like, when Sergio said it was a deal breaker, he didn't understand the context of deal breaker. I call cap on that, because I feel like deal breaker is very much a like, I don't want to, it's not multi, I think it's like, it spans over all cultures. I know a lot of shows that I watch Korean shows, I've watched Spanish shows, I've watched like African shows. People use deal breaker like in many different cultures. So him acting like he didn't understand what deal and deal breaker is, I don't believe. I just think at this point, Caroline just either needs to tell that boy, I'm not having a baby. I don't want to talk about this anymore. If you don't want to be with me, we can move on, or you could go find somebody else. But if they really come back for season 3, I'm sick of this storyline. I don't want to hear it no more. They continue Stanberry's package about Sergio. We find out that somehow Sergio owns this property in Bali. Like he's, I guess, creating like a resort or something like that, or a hotel. They also bring up the comment that Stanberry made when Talene pulled her to the side when they had the Queen's dinner, where she was like, she gives her and Sergio like 10 to like 5 to 10 years. And everyone's like, well, no, Sergio loves your dirty draws. But Stanberry's like, I'm just being realistic. Like, eventually he's going to get, like, I'm going to be old, and he going to want to go somewhere else. So they then have a conversation about Sarah. They talk about Sarah. They run Sarah's package. They talk about Akine. She says that Akine is thirsty. Like, they point to the water feature that's on the stage, and she was like, you could give this to Akine. So they were like, what happened? She said that he cheated. And I said, I was glad that Andy was like, how can he cheat and y'all weren't like dating? She said, but we were exclusive. That's stupid. That man didn't cheat on you. You just decided that because, like, I'm trying to be respectful because I understand that it's like a cultural thing, but that does not make sense to me. There's no way we're exclusive friends. Girl, you either my man or you're not. And if you're not my man, you're not my boyfriend, I'm doing what I want. I might be in the streets, I might not be in the streets, but if somebody decides to come to my house and you not my, like I'm not cheating. I say the whole cheating thing to me is irrelevant because y'all weren't together. What I would say would have been the reason to break up with him is he was exhibiting signs of being controlling. They bring up some trip where they went to Seychelles. Is that how you say it? Seychelles? And it was last year. And it was Ayan, Seba, Sarah. I just had a coughing spell. But basically, they were in Seychelles, and it was a few of the ladies, and I guess Akine kept calling over and over and over to the point where Ayan took Sarah's phone. And there was a moment where Brooks is like, I was actually surprised by his behavior because he was really nice to me and Ayan. Sarah's like, of course he was nice to you because he was flirting. Y'all was always flirting with each other. And Brooks was like, no, I wasn't. She was like, well, you always said he was attractive. She said, yeah, but I wasn't flirting with him. So you could definitely see that the relationship with Brooks and Sarah is definitely changing. And ultimately, what the other side of the couch, which would be Talene and Sarah, well, not Sarah, Talene and Stanberry, really Stanberry, honestly, I put Talene in there kind of because she was kind of gleefully happy to see the dissension or the breakdown in their relationship, because I was just like, okay, Sarah, like she was like getting mad at Brooks when Brooks was defending Lisa. Then we have that situation that was exposed about the whole phone call situation, and she was like, Brooks, that was so wrong. And it was like, nah, it wasn't. It wasn't. But it was just like, okay, so Sarah is definitely on the other side of the couch. And I wonder if that's because Seba and Brooks and Lisa are still friends, and Seba and Sarah aren't cool anymore. But you could definitely tell that Sarah, to me, was trying to prove that she was on the other side of the couch's side, more so of just like being cool with the other people on that couch. We know Sarah don't like Lisa. So they then show the breakdown in the relationship between Ayan and Lisa. They showed the whole entire package. And Brooks is like, dang, that's a lot. And what I've always, because she said she didn't see it, but it seems like Ayan and Lisa saw the episode. I don't understand why they film these reunions and they don't show everything. That's so weird to me. That is so weird to me that they film the reunions before the season like is fully fleshed out, and the girls be like, "Oh, I watched, up until episodes here or up until this episode, but I didn't get a chance to see everything before the reunion." Why would you not want them to sit down and watch everything? Like, that's weird to me, bro. That's just weird to me that they do that. They do it with, no, it's only a Housewives thing, really. Because even when I watch like TLC shows or WeTV or even VH1 shows, it seems like the cast has seen the whole entire season before they film the reunion. But with Bravo, especially the Housewives, it's like they only get to see to a certain point, and then we film the reunion, and then they online talking about they didn't know this happened after the reunion has wrapped. That's weird. Stop doing that. So Lisa ends up saying that the breakdown in their relationship kind of started kind of behind the scenes. And they actually show us unforeseen footage where Lisa is telling Ayan, girl, tell Rihanna, you need to talk to Rihanna and tell her I'll send her some baby stuff. So we find out that Rihanna and Ayan have like an acquaintanceship. When Rihanna found out that Ayan was watching Ayan Beauty, she reached out to, I guess, Ayan and told her whatever she needed, she would help her. So Ayan was like, I was definitely not about to reach out to her when I hadn't even asked her about the makeup stuff. On top of that, you said it on camera, and I don't even know if she wanted people to know that she was pregnant at that time. And so Lisa was like, girl, what? So now, Ayan is like, she kind of peeped that there was something going on with Lisa, where she was just like, if that was the reason why we not cool right now, then that says a lot about you. And to Ayan's credit, that is true. They then start talking about the whole voice note situation, where Ayan is like, they do the flashback where she's in her confessional, where she was like, she's acting like she never saw, like I never told her I was going to play the voice note. She knew I was going to play the voice note. And so, Lisa was like, I did not know you were going to play the voice note. And Sarah said, well, girl, production told me that you did know. And Lisa's like, no, I didn't. Now, y'all know when we did Spicy Corner, Lisa said that Ayan was trying to tell her something before they sat down at the table, but production stopped them from having the conversation. So Ayan is like, yeah, I'm vindicated because I told you, you knew about it. So you hear Talene being like, so you did know about it. And Lisa's like, no, I did not. I did not know about it. And Brooks is just like, this is messy. And so Lisa was like, she told me there was a recording of something, because like Ayan is really not allowing Lisa to speak. She's standing up, and now she ends up sitting down, and then she's like, and I was irritated with Andy, because I was like, Andy, make both of them shut up like you did with Talene and Brooks, and be like, you go, then you go. Because Lisa ends up saying like, I did not know it was my voice recording. Ayan said they were going to play a recording at dinner. That's it. And in that regard, Lisa didn't know. She knew there was a recording, but she didn't know it was the voice note that she sent Ayan. And so like everyone's like, I don't know about that. So then the viewer's question was like, well, Stanberry, why did you throw Ayan under the bus? And Stanberry said, when we were on the boat, Ayan said she didn't want to play it. I wanted to play it because I wanted to show the hypocrisy of Sarah, to basically say, like, basically to hurt Sarah and Brooks, but more so Brooks, because at the time Stanberry and Brooks were beefing. And so Ayan ends up being like, I shouldn't have played a voice note. Nobody needs to send me voice notes anymore. And then Lisa said, I take responsibility that like I should have never sent the voice note to my friend. I was being messy. So they did that situation. So then somehow, some way, they get onto the conversation about conversation about how Ayan acts differently when Lisa's not around. And they referred to that situation where they were at the golf event. And Brooks was like, yeah, when she's not around Lisa, she's more light, she's more airy. And then Talene was like, yeah, it seems like she's be walking on eggshells when she's around Lisa. And they bring up the whole thing about like Lisa telling Ayan what not to say and what to say on camera. And I take that twofold. On one hand, I can understand Ayan feeling like controlled and confined, but I'm also like, girl, you're between the ages of 45 and 50. You're a grown adult. You can tell your friend no. Like, you're not this damsel in distress. Because in one breath, Ayan acts like she's such this, like, poorest me type of woman. But then the next breath, you cussing and screaming like a banshee at people and pointing your finger. So, like, you can get amped when you want to. You were okay with Lisa doing that stuff. And Lisa's like, if she's acted differently, she's only acted differently because I'm not there to have her back. But then in one regard, I can see Lisa thinking that she's helping her friend because she has done reality TV. She did College Hill. So she's probably like, girl, don't say this, don't say that, because she's allowing the viewers to curate, or she knows how the game is played and she's trying to edit herself, which is inauthentic because you shouldn't do that. But I can get Lisa being like, I need to make sure we look good on TV, you know? And Lisa was like, I had no issues with the whole duo situation. And it's like, girl, you did have an issue with them being friends. Like, just call a thing a thing. Like, let's just call a thing a thing. So then Ayan gets mad because they go back to the fight that happened on the last episode where she was like, I texted everybody in this group and said, you know, my son is getting bullied at school, and if I want him to come to this event, and if any of y'all have issues with me, let me know now because I don't want this to happen in front of my child. And she was like, that's really why I blew up. And so Lisa was like, girl, and my in-laws were there, so we both made fools of ourselves. And in that regard, I do believe that, like, y'all both made fools of y'allself. Ayan is kind of taken aback because Lisa's like, you didn't tell me that. And Ayan's like, I told everybody that. And Lisa's like, you didn't really tell me that was the situation. And so then Lisa said, well, really, Andy was like, this all feels surface level. Like, this does not feel like it's that deep that y'all can't get past it. And Lisa was like, yeah, it's surface level for the most part, but what I can't get past is her wishing me dead and that I fail at everything. And Ayan's like, girl, I ain't never said that. And so Brooks is like, you want us to drop the bomb? So we find out. So they were like, well, who did you hear that from? And Lisa's like, I heard it from Brooks. So then everyone's like, girl, that's not credible. Until Brooks said, no, I called Ayan three-way. We called three-way. I put her on speakerphone and I said, hey, did you say, like, or did you really feel that serious about wishing Lisa dead and all this stuff? And then Ayan said, yeah, F that bitch. So she said it. Then all of a sudden, Talene's like, that's dirty. And Sarah's like, girl, Brooks, that's not right. No. Y'all were trying to act, and I like how Brooks said no. At first, y'all were acting like I was lying until y'all find out that I'm not lying. And I'm like, yeah, you need to hold Ayan's feet to the fire. Was what Brooke did shady and wrong? Yeah, but like, y'all try to play in her face like she was lying and she wasn't lying. Like, Ayan said what she said. And you could tell that Ayan said what she said because all of a sudden she was like, I would never. Yeah, girl, you said it. And I don't know if I kept that screenshot, so if I can find it. But you're the same person that changed her name in your phone to like soulless, heartless something person, from like the hottest Jamaican to like soulless and heartless. I do believe you say you wish that lady dead and you wish nothing good to come to her. Let's not. As dramatic as you are, yeah, girl. So then Lisa gets up. She's like, I need a minute. And she's like, she was crying, but she wasn't crying. You know, like there was no tears, but she gets off the stage. Sarah's trying to chastise Brooks, and Brooks is like, girl, it's whatever. But, you know, Ayan ends up saying, you know, we've been friends for 8 years, because Andy was like, y'all can't come back from this, because Lisa comes back and she sits down and she's like, I wanted Ayan to say that she was angry that she was hurt, and that's why she said what she said. I need her to take ownership of that. And Ayan was like, I think we could get back to a place, maybe we could go get a cup of coffee, but the door is open on my side. And Lisa said mine is too, but as it states right now, I'm not really interested. So they kind of ended it there. They end up gifting each other gifts. So like it was supposed to be like a shady gift. So for Ayan, um Brooks gave her like this bedazzled like thermal cup. I would have liked it, but it was to say she's thirsty. Then Lisa's gift from Ayan was a jug of water to say that she was thirsty. So Lisa was like, "Oh, y'all did the same joke, lame." So then Sarah got to lean edible panties as a joke to like everybody seeing her coochie when Beyonce was around. Then Stanberry gave everybody like "I'm your sugar daddy" shirts. Andy really liked them. They kind of laughed at it. Then what's her name? I think Sarah got a ventriloquist dummy from what's her name, from Stanberry, like referencing, you got to stick up Brooks's butt and you're talking for her. And then Talene gave Brooks this green dress that she wore last season, and they actually showed it. And then she pulled out these two poster boards of like a text message conversation that they had about the green dress, and then her wearing the green dress. And Brooks was like, "Girl, I don't even want this." And she was like, "Let's not do this." Because she was just like, "You said I wore your whole wardrobe, not one dress." Andy thought it was funny. Everybody else on the stage kind of laughed at it. But it seems like Brooks and Talene are friends now because remember she posted that thing about them actually having a conversation, and I think Talene liked it. So clearly they've moved on from it. Here is my final thoughts. I would give this season a 6. The reunion was both parts were very underwhelming, and for them not to really have good ratings, this really didn't help them. A lot of people who are those that watched the show weren't really impressed by it, even myself. And I did see some people being like, this will probably be their final season. I could see them giving them a season 3, but all in all, I feel like they should put this show on Peacock. I feel like if they put them on Peacock and allow them to grow on Peacock, maybe have them be on there for the next like 3 seasons or 2 seasons and see if there's a huge change. Maybe it could just be that type of show where it's just on Peacock. Because the issue with Dubai is that whole 2 years of them coming back, they lost momentum, they lost steam. And because Dubai has all this red tape when it comes to like how you film shows over there, it probably would be better for them to be to be an online reality show versus being a nationally like televised show. But yeah, I would give this season a 6. I feel like everybody could come back. I think for me, well, Sarah got to go. I'm over Sarah because the reunion honestly was just everybody except Sarah, and maybe add 2 new girls. But who really knows what they're gonna do with Dubai? You know what? Thank you all that tuned in. I really appreciate you guys rocking out with me for another season. And as always, remember to be brutally authentic. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.